Hey, Peter.
Hey, what's up?
You know what we're doing today?
No.
Nothing but this. I'm Adam Manis.
And I'm Peter Martin.
And you are listening to the You'll Hear It podcast.
Music advice coming to you, flowing to you, coming at you.
Which one is it?
All of those. All of the above.
Here's our new slogan. Music advice coming to you, coming at you, flowing to you.
There's three different this is a conduit for musical information, knowledge, and repartee.
Super catchy.
Yeah. Sorry, I got to warn you. I've been on the continent the last couple of weeks. And not this continent, the continent.
Which continent would that be?
Europa.
Eurasia. Not Asia or
Eurasia.
Antarctica?
Pangea.
Pangea,
sorry.
Yeah, the supercontinent.
That's right. No, I've been there. So you're going to get a little bit of avec français, perchance,
okay.
con italiano,
okay.
you know,
Okay.
we'll see.
Watch out. So you were in Italy and France, is what you're trying to say.
Yes. Yeah. It was a very pretentious way of saying that.
Did you have a good time?
I had a very good time.
Yeah.
Very good time.
Did you see any music? I always ask musicians who vacation.
So I did. I actually went to a really interesting chamber music concert in Siena, Italy. That was just great in a beautiful old hall, and so I didn't see a lot. That was actually kind of the main music I heard.
Siena, beautiful.
Siena's beautiful,
and the surrounding area too.
Yes, the Tuscan countryside. It was very nice.
That's so great.
Yeah, but that's not what we're here for today.
No, we're not here for that. But it is good to have you back, buddy, and
Yeah.
it's good to be back recording the podcast. And thanks everybody for blowing up some recent videos.
I heard about that.
Yeah, on YouTube.
Yeah.
If you haven't checked out the podcast on YouTube, go check it out, and you might as well hit the like and subscribe. If you're on YouTube right now, we're about to give you a free video podcast. You might adhere to a little agreement that we have.
Ooh, is that still happening? I didn't know if that faded away in my absence.
By the way, people are very much in the comments.
Yes.
Saying agreement adhered to.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's part of the deal is like you must adhere to this agreement. This is what we are calling, not what we're calling, what is the gentleman and ladies agreement.
Well, can I just add something?
Gentleman and or ladies agreement.
Go ahead and do the basic agreement, but I'm going to add something to it this time.
Okay, so the agreement is we will provide you with an amazing podcast, and by listening, and if you're hearing this, you're listening or watching.
It's a great start.
You agree to subscribe to the YouTube channel as payment.
I would also add, subscribe and leave us a comment. Agreement adhered to.
That's great because that's kind of confirmation.
Yeah.
Is that required?
I think it's required now.
Oh, that's
part
required
of the agreement
too. Okay,
to
awesome.
Subscribe and leave a comment because we want to hear from you. And even it doesn't have to be exactly agreement adhered to, but we want our agreeers up there in the comments.
Yeah, maybe just surprise us with some eloquence and another approach to however you want to express to us that you have adhered to the agreement. That's up to you. Tell your story.
Well, speaking of eloquence,
yes,
check this transition out. So we've got a good one today. We've had some really amazing reactions to some of our reaction videos. We watched Thelonious Monk video a few weeks ago, and Ahmad Jamal video a few weeks ago, Wayne Shorter before that. Today, we want to watch a video that's super special. And I think you already knew about this video. I've not seen this yet.
Yeah, no, I knew about it. I remember seeing it, around the time it came out, which is 1985. I'm going to paint a little bit of a picture.
Paint it.
Take yourself back to the mid-'80s.
No, get your palette out.
When everybody was wearing Reebok and Nike tennis shoes that look exactly like they do today.
I was going to say, sometimes producer Caleb will wear some Reeboks.
No. He's going straight. He's going straight military today. Okay. But it is known to happen. But no, this concert was kind of a famous concert. You were a little bit young probably to be totally tuned into this on your jazz journey.
Yeah.
And I was on the younger side for sure. But it was a really cool thing because it was, I believe it was part of the rebooting of and reintroduction of the Blue Note record label, which
Nice.
kind of it never went totally defunct, but it's sort of, they weren't doing any releases. I don't know, something happened with the ownership. I think
Yeah.
Toshiba EMI
Thank
bought
goodness
them.
they got
Bruce
it back on
Ludwig
track in
came
the
back.
80s because there's some good stuff that came
There's
out in
some
the
great
80s and
stuff.
90s on
Right.
that label. So
And
good.
this was actually came out as one of the first recordings, I believe, but it's from Live at Town Hall, One Night with Blue Note, I believe is what it's called. But I remember seeing the video, like a videotape, VHS, What You Know About That,
very cool.
of this concert and kind of the story about how it came together. Because it was a little bit of a reunion of at the time where I was just like, oh, it's like the old guys and gals from, they weren't that old,
Yeah.
but they were like from back in the day, Herbie
Maybe your
Hancock.
age now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Younger, probably younger. Tony Williams, Woody Shaw, and Freddie Hubbard. So Woody Shaw and Freddie Hubbard had a great record from that same year, I believe. It was one of the first releases. Kenny Garrett, a young Kenny Garrett, was on it.
Wow.
I forget what it was called. It was something with play on two trumpets. But of course, they had both recorded on the OG Blue Note back in the '60s. Johnny Griffin, Curtis Fuller. It was a lot of luminaries at this concert. But tell them about the particular track and who's on it, because this was sort of certainly an apex to the concert as I remember it from the video.
This is Cantaloupe Island, Herbie Hancock's composition. Herbie is playing the piano. Open studio artist Ron Carter is playing the bass. Tony Williams is playing the drums.
Yep.
Which is
Good rhythm section.
an amazing, one of the rhythm sections of all time.
Yeah.
And then the horns are Joe Henderson and Freddie Hubbard. And I think we'll probably spend most of this episode centered around Freddie.
Yes.
And his incredible playing. So, Freddie Hubbard's recording life, I think a lot of people focus on the 60s.
Yeah.
But 70s on, man.
Yeah.
Guy was tearing it up.
Yeah.
And from what I've seen of this concert, it's no different. I don't know if there's a more a trumpet player in the history of recorded music, besides maybe Louis Armstrong, that has a more appealing combination of artistry, fire, chops. Like, he's sensitive, he's athletic, he's it's like the
Athletic's a great way to
the complete package. It's like he can do anything on the instrument, and he makes really, really beautiful artistic choices with that power.
Yeah.
It's incredible.
I've always felt like he had that, among other things, a special talent that he had was that combination of like really interesting and innovative harmonic approaches, but combined with things that worked really well specifically on the trumpet.
Yeah.
So like he could find those things and make them sound really easy if you're not a trumpet player. Trumpet players always knew, and we're always a little bit fearful of him because of his athleticism at the instrument, his intonation, his great sound, his kind of, agility and all these things. But it was never just about like trumpet theatrics and everything. He had all that.
Listen, there's plenty of trumpet players that are just all theatrics.
Right.
But this is deeper.
Right.
Freddie's playing has always been deeper, and it's his concept. Like
Exactly. And so he had that really advanced, interesting harmonic concept, and so that he would weave these incredible, melodic shapes that fit really well on the trumpet. And then, of course, his technique was so great, he was able to do that, but really in service of the music in a super interesting way. And then his rhythmic conception was so, which we're going to hear on this.
Off the charts.
Yeah.
Let's hear a little bit.
Yeah.
Here we go. This is amazing, by the way. And shout out to
George Lucas for that.
George Lucas for the
production. Different way he's phrasing that. Bop, bop.
What a great suit Freddie's wearing.
Yeah.
What's that chord, Peter?
Exactly. I love the way Herbie's already breaking it up. But Freddie stays right in there. Bop, bop. Why is the text still on the Why is the text still on the screen?
I don't know.
That's horrible.
Maestro.
Well, that's a Freddieism right there. Busy comping, but effective.
No, controlled dynamically.
Up to that high G.
I love what Ron Carter does here in these D minor sections.
Yeah.
He's like swirling, making the tension happen.
Yeah.
Truly a master of tension and release. Yeah, on the low end. How hip Tony looks. Force.
And he's just like. There's like no economy of motion in what Freddie's doing, but it's great.
We got to take a break from that's 2 intense.
Right.
We got to take a break. And
this is like a beautiful musical cocaine festival or something, man. So much going on, man.
So great. So there's a couple of things I want to back up and just highlight. First off, some of the chords that Herbie's playing on the D minor sections. It's D minor, right?
Yeah. But he's going all the way up
in the head. Hold on.
Okay.
What is that?
Well, that's the 13th. So he's really like extending up those fours.
Yeah.
You know, so it's all perfect fours, and then that tritone on top, stacking it up.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Because it's very much like there's a lot of like minor 11, and he goes in and out of it, but that kind of gives it that tension between that 7th and the 6th, 13th, whatever it is. And then he's resolving it down to the up or down. And then what he's doing there rhythmically is so like, and like he sticks with that a lot on this.
The original would be what he's doing.
Yeah. It's like, but I think the originals are actually
right.
Without like that. Yeah, like I think. So he's adding in, you know, there's a lot of and you know, Tony Williams kind of hints at that actually even before he plays it. Like there's a lot of playing around. And then when Tony did that big triplet, it was almost just like, hold on a second, we're resetting this thing. You know, and I think he only did it one time on that solo.
And just notice like Herbie's concept, like he's going between a couple of different concepts as he's comping. He's really just laying down a nice rhythmic foundation as if he were like a, you know, guitar player, like he's Nile Rodgers or something, just like giving that 16th note.
Yeah, like scratching. He's almost scratching.
Totally. And then he's doing some interacting with some colors and some textures behind what Freddie's doing. And Freddie is just like, what is happening?
Man, he's going for broke. Just like, I mean, that the first chorus is kind of restrained,
but
in terms of spacing, but the intensity of what he's playing, he's starting out at like 11.
I know, it's getting,
and so it's such a interesting way of like setting up the solo.
Yeah,
because it's like you're challenging yourself, you're challenging the listener, and I think Herbie certainly and Tony, like they're heightening that with like all that really busy comping. But there's a lot of trust between them. There's a lot of shared language and history.
For sure.
That when you can play that much, you know, and know that that's the way Freddie's like, oh yeah, this is not a problem. I'm gonna play on top of all this and layer all this hip, intense stuff in there with it.
His phrasing is so strong and confident and intentional. and he sets himself up that he doesn't need you to help him.
We were talking about espresso. This is all. There's no decaffeinato going on here.
No,
and this is all caffeinato.
And then I mentioned, Ron Carter is also like he's laying down just something like a really big, beautiful sound on the just in the pocket, and then on that you can tell they're using that D minor section to really. Yeah,
a little bit of a release.
Little bit of a release, and Ron is doing some like double stops and some like that kind of thing.
Real foundational, but a little. The only time he gets a little bit looser for like sticking with the line.
Tony too, and it's very effective. So like for any young musicians out there, that's how you play this song. Like, that's like the groove can stay in the pocket, and then use that third section, that C section, to sort of like really let things intensify, and then release it into the A section.
And what's so great about it is like that's really the connection. Like everything else is different actually than the way this was originally. And actually, this was almost the exact same band. I believe it wasn't Joe Henderson on the. Was it? I know it was Freddie on the original, and maybe George Coleman. Mm-hmm. But same rhythm section. Like the only thing that they're doing the same is the form. Yeah. Like the melody. I mean, they're playing the melody, but Freddie's playing it differently. Actually,
the groove is slightly
different. Bop bop. Like the groove and the way that he's comping and stuff. The bass line's pretty much the same, but like in that D minor section, Ron is stretching it out. But like that's such a great thing. It's like, no, we're not going to just recreate this thing, even though it's Blue Note Night or whatever. But it's going to be very recognizable. But the energy is different.
Well, and notice again,
and the groove is different. Like Tony's playing a different groove,
and Herbie's playing differently. As you mentioned. Yeah. Like so, it's also a great lesson for younger musicians or less experienced musicians. Let the music evolve. It doesn't have to be the same as it was in 1965 or whatever. Like let it happen. And be with it where it is. Like that articulation on the it's a big difference. Like it's a different feeling, but it sets up some kind of other energy with this performance, and I'm loving it.
No, it's great, and it really places it for that evening, for that live performance. That's when this music is at its best. I think is taking this shared language or shared. I mean, like this is such a standard kind of like jam session. It's not even, I guess it's a jam. It's a standard. It's like everybody knows it. The listeners know it. Everybody loves it. Around the same time, there was like a kind of hip hop sample of this spin-off with one of those European hip hop thing, whatever. So, I mean, it's like, it's out there. So it's like, okay, what are you going to do when you got the OGs playing it, you know? And it's very much placed during this time in a super exciting way.
Let's hear a little more.
Yeah. Freddie's looking at something like, wow, you survived that solo?
Yeah, well done, Trumpet.
Impressive. Now Ron's stretching out a little bit.
How huge Tony's kid is in this era.
Oh, that's what Herbie. What is that? On that D minor, I think he did his
the double, triple diminished.
Yeah, like a D flat major over D minor kind of vibe.
That,
yeah. Woo. Which is such a great from that minor 11 over that 6.
But it goes to show you that section is not about some kind of set color. It's about tension. It's about swirling. It's
Right.
about creating tension to release it.
And I think he went to that, like he was doing more like the force comping because of perhaps the way that Freddie Hubbard was soloing.
Yeah.
Like Joe Henderson is really doing a lot more third bass kind of, even like that kind of thing over that D minor. So that's kind of a way to give it a little bit of tension, but a little acknowledgement of that harmonic structure.
Yeah, because Freddie was playing pretty outside.
Yeah.
And especially after the first two choruses.
Yeah, and a lot of force stuff,
Yeah,
force jumping up and down. Freddie was like, I want to get back in there.
Come on, let me back. Come on, Joe, let me back.
So that's what. Third, minor third.
Great solo.
Pause there for just a second. So this is something that I think is kind of important sometimes, just in terms of maybe ways that we can think about approaching not only this tune but any kind of like this is so pentatonic and blues, like that duality. You heard Joe Henderson doing that for everybody, but thinking about that as opposed to an F minor pentatonic as an A flat major pentatonic with the 6, because that's kind of the way I hear it melodically that Herbie's approaching it, and you could say like, well, no, I think it's F minor. Like the main thing is just to sort of start to find two different ways to maybe get to the same point and give approaches for you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It doesn't really matter what the listener...
It's the same notes, right?
It's the same notes, exactly. But it's kind of like the structure of how you do it. It doesn't matter how the listener, because most people aren't thinking about pentatonics, but they hear that sound. It's such a foundational kind of thing.
Yeah.
But when I hear that, I kind of, from a analysis standpoint, gravitate more towards that A flat major.
Yeah.
And then a lot of that...
Well, sorry, we didn't get too far, but what that does, if you think about it like that, is when you hit that in that D flat 7, then you can think A flat minor.
Exactly, with major 7.
So it turns it into nearly like a blues kind of connotation.
Totally. And so you've got like dual blues connotation, because you still got the the flatted 5th or the minor 3rd.
Yeah. What was that though?
I don't know. It's just Herbie being Herbie, as we say.
Oh!
So he's hinting already at that D minor before he gets there.
Whoa.
Oh, so there he's like
whoa.
D minor to D minor, going down a whole step as opposed to going down a half step.
Is that what
there.
he's doing?
I think so, yeah.
That kind of thing?
I think so, yeah. Oh, maybe. Yeah, something, maybe. Yeah, I think it's down a whole step.
You gotta get Max Gamise in here.
Yeah, with a minor 9. It's the whole step.
This guy's really up on his Herbie stuff.
sliding up to it. Up to E flat minor, E minor, and then back to the D.
Come on, man.
It's just so many different opportunities to take it out. So like a lot of those times, well, several of those chords, you know, he goes when he's on the D flat, and then he hints up to that D minor already, and then he went up to the E flat minor, and then came down.
To bring it back. So he's on that D flat 7, and then he hits.
Yeah, he's not supposed to be there yet. Yeah.
And then sometimes you're right, he is hitting this like, or this kind of thing on that, this sort of double diminished, like D flat minor over D thing.
Yep.
C sharp minor, I guess.
Just everybody remember this next part. Yeah, a lot of people say, don't try to force it in. And I love that they've kind of abandoned the. They don't really play that much.
Did you ever get to hang with Freddie Hubbard? Did you ever get to hang with Freddie Hubbard?
A little bit, yeah.
Yeah?
Some stories I can't really...
He seems like he'd be a good time.
He was a good time. Yeah, he was great. I mean, I actually heard him for the first time, would have been within a year of this here in St. Louis at St. Louis Community College.
Oh, really?
A little hall there. I remember
interesting.
Getting a chance to hear him, which was amazing.
At Forest Park?
Yeah, exactly. And he was, I mean, this period actually kind of mid-'80s, I think was one of his strongest periods. Like he had in the 90s, when I heard him, and even like early 2000s, I can't remember exactly when, I think he passed in mid 2000s, and wasn't like, he had some chops issues at different times. Obviously such a powerful player, so much technique that we, the times when he had some different issues, you really could tell. But his playing was at such a high level that it was still like really, really good. But in thinking about it, this was one of, I think, his strongest periods. I mean, it was just like, you could just tell. I mean, there's like almost nothing he couldn't play that he was feeling.
It's truly
There was no
amazing.
technical limitations necessary.
And it's just so joyous. It's so much fun
Yeah.
to be a part of, to be on that ride. And what an amazing band. Tony Williams, I love the huge 80s kit. I guess that started in the 70s for him.
Right,
Those
that big Gretsch.
Gretsch kit, huge drums, huge toms.
Yeah.
But like he and Herbie, it's funny, drummers and piano players, man.
Yeah.
They, the ones that work well together, like Kenny Kirkland and Tane and Herbie and Tony, they just have this like otherworldly ability to create tension with each other and just create these colors around the band. It's
just like there's certain, watching two people have a discussion.
Yeah.
Like even when there's a lot going on between that piano. I mean, you talk about Herbie and Tony, there's just so many different things. And then you go back and you just focus in on that. You're like, wow, and to see these little sparks flying and where did they start? And then they start throwing them around. It's great stuff. So, I'm going to go back and kind of see if I can find this complete video. Maybe it's on YouTube.
Oh, that'd be great.
Of that whole concert, because it was a lot of great stuff happening.
Well, thanks for joining us, everybody.
Yeah.
We'll be back with more. Until next time.
You'll hear it.
I'm in Steamboat Springs, Colorado currently.
I'm in Indianapolis.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Andrew, hi.
Because I feel inspired to play something else from your playing.
Okay, that's great.
I think using the metronome is a great tool, but it's not the only tool.
All of the answers are really in the music.
What does it mean to live in a groove, be in a groove?
Until next time, happy practicing.